My money don't jiggle, it folds, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, giving you my opinion on it. More importantly, friends, asking for yours down in the comment section. A few things to talk about today. The situation avec Ousmane Dembélé, what's going on there. Adrien Rabiot links. Not for me, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk about Bruyere, we'll talk about Sterling, we'll talk about Kounde. Oh my god, we can talk about Matthijs de Ligt. Delicious. Sorry for that. Thank you for dropping a like on the video, friends. It takes a second. It supports me, your friendly neighbourhood Yang. And you're welcome to subscribe, of course, should you choose to do so, mate. Hit that bell, baby! Alright. First off, before we talk about update on Dembélé and whatnot, we were linked to Adrien Rabiot, and it was coming from different sources floating around the media. Of course, Juventus player, played for PSG. He took PSG for a ride originally because he wanted more P's. Got his move to Juve. I've never really years ago. And when I say years ago, I mean when Chelsea... Do you remember there was a time where Chelsea just kept playing PSG in the Champions League, like 5 or 6 years ago or something? Back then, I thought Rabiot was like an interesting player. And like, ooh, what if he could be linked to Chelsea? You know, we buy big players. But now, he's a bit of a meme. There's a journalist called Philippe Auclair, the French guy. And he always talks about Rabiot just being like a bit of a meme, a bit of a joke. Like he just does these peculiar things on the pitch and his decisiveness is really poor. And although I haven't watched him closely much, the way, you know, when someone says something with conviction, you just believe them. Like, that's how I feel about this player. I'm not interested in Rabiot, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. Because I think it's silly. I don't think it's the solution for Chelsea, and I think it's silly. So let's move on. We are going to talk about the transfers, but let's talk about the situation with Ousmane Dembélé. This was actually tweeted a day or two ago by Ben Jacobs at JacobsBen on Twitter, giving you an update of the situation with Ousmane Dembélé. The only formal offer he has on the table, as previously reported, is Barcelona's contract extension. The club still don't plan on improving this, and Barcelona have made no secret of their frustration at the lack of a signature or communication. They're like, sign it, what's going on? We're not going to give you more money, just tell us what's going on here. Of course, in the meantime, you've got Ousmane out in, shouting across cars that he's happy in Barcelona. Let's read on. Dembélé has a strong relationship with the manager, Xavi. He fits perfectly into their system and has clocked 13 assists in 21 La Liga games last season. Very impressive. He's hesitant to sign unless terms are improved, but it may be his only option, so this is where it gets interesting. PSG have not actually tabled an offer, and CFC have not even advanced in recent talks. Barcelona have neither the financial means or much incentive to increase their offer without another suitor bettering the existing extension. So yeah, no one else is offering him contracts, so, why would they raise their price? They're like knowing he's not going to go anywhere else. And they know he's pretty happy at Barcelona generally. Dembele's camp have spoken with confidence about other options for months, but none appear to have materialised to date. So that's what's the situation. So as it stands, it's not really a choice between Barcelona or Chelsea. Chelsea would have to actually act to make that the case. Chelsea have not acted. And then he says, told Chelsea are likely to prioritise Raheem Sterling over Ousmane Dembélé. If they do want the latter, Dembélé, they'll have to agree something pretty darn fast. Dembélé continues, brackets, as you'd expect, from a player with no formal option on the date, to say he's staying at Barcelona. That's what we reported here on the channel from the video. I'm happy at Barcelona, I'm going to stay. Of course he's going to say that. But the reality is, Dembélé has no choice but to stay at Barcelona unless another concrete offer comes in, and quickly, because Barcelona are now pushing even harder for him to extend his deal. Yeah, things would need to move quickly. Very interesting, no primal talks here. Maybe there's some gamesmanship going on in the background, like waiting, seeing what happens, applying pressure. You don't want to go too early because those demands will go beep, 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 beep if loads of people want you. Maybe that's the situation there. Anyway, that's an update with Ousmane Dembélé. Don't rule it out, but from what Ben Jacobs is saying there, he understands, and as do many other Chelsea reporters, journalists, people who are close to the club, understand Raheem Sterling is Chelsea's priority, and it's been reported Chelsea could get Raheem Sterling for around £45 million. I think he's the type of hard-working, effective team player that Thomas Tuchel might be looking for. Maybe not exciting and sexy, but functional and will help you win games and help you be consistent over the length of a Premier League season. The kind of things we've been lacking in the Chelsea team. Let's read on. Let's talk about some other stuff. I'm going to be citing at Cy Phillips Sport now on Twitter for some information, aggregated Chelsea news. Chelsea are rejecting approaches for striker Armando Broja as they assess their squad and what to do in the transfer window. They are in no rush to sell. So this is, of course, probably in response to the fact how West Ham are coming in pretty darn hard for the Chelsea striker Armando Broja, who, of course, the season before last was at loan at Vitesse Arnhem in the Eredivisie. Last season was on loan at Southampton. They wanted to buy him a lot, but he left. I don't think he was interested in staying. I think he was their top scorer. And now, of course, West Ham, who are historically always looking for strikers the last decade, whether it's Allaire or other ones that have come and gone and didn't work. Now it's essentially they're looking at Armando Broja. Understandably, he's great on the transition. David Moyes plays quite transitional football. Mikel Antonio running up the other end of the pitch. Armando Broja is young and energetic. Suits the style. Theoretically, Chelsea could go, all right, we're going to, charge you over the odds for Broja because that's what you're doing with Declan Rice, and maybe we can both get something that we want out of this. It's good to hear they're not doing that, because Armando Broja is a very bright, talented young striker, and understandably, Thomas Tuchel wants to look at him in pre-season. He was good last pre-season. If he's good again, and even better, Tuchel might be like, right, second striker for the squad. Boom. Don't sell him. Because a second striker at Chelsea plays lots of minutes. We play in many competitions. I just spat everywhere. We play in many competitions. Plenty of opportunity for Armando Broja to get game time. So that's interesting, and that's a positive piece of news. Cy Phillips were also confirming that a quote from the aforementioned Ben Jacobs talking about an attacker and Raheem Sterling, saying Sterling is the number one target, of course, laying that on thicker. The fee will be 40 to 45 million pounds, he thinks. 40 million pounds, the price of a Bakayoko for Raheem Sterling in his prime, 27, won 4 out of the last Prems. That is good business, no matter which way you look at it. Friends, Tuchel said directly to Boehly he admires Dembele. Chelsea are put off by high wages. This needs discussing internally, and there's no chance for PSG. So he's hammered that home. Really no chance for PSG. So Dembele, it's Barcelona or Chelsea, but at the moment it really looks heavily like he will renew at Barcelona. Interesting to hear his wages would be that much astronomically higher over Raheem Sterling. Maybe because he knows he's a free transfer and he knows there'll be no transfer fee. He wants that laid on thick on wages. Maybe Raheem Sterling will obviously be aware that Chelsea would have to pay 45 million pounds for him. Therefore, he wouldn't ask for crazy free transfer wages. You'd assume. But that's pretty interesting, and yes, the more I think about it, the more I am sort of growing to the idea of Raheem Sterling at Chelsea. It just feels like a sensible transfer, ladies and gentlemen. So it's Friday the 24th, at time of recording. Romelu Lukaku will be in Milan next week for a medical. I don't know the status of his injury, but I can imagine he will do everything in his heart to pass that medical. If he would run through a brick friggin' wall to pass that medical at Milan to get back in the San Siro, bro. Like, big time. He is not failing that medical. Imagine if he failed the medical and came back to Chelsea. Again, still following Cy Phillips on his Twitter page. He's citing Fabrizio Romano here. Sevilla will accept a fee of £55.8 million for Jules Kounde this summer. That's a little bit more like it. Just get it done. It is a long-term target that's relatively significantly less than the release clause, whereas they'd offered him for a reasonable price last year and then said, actually, no, you've sold Zuma, you've got to pay the release clause of like €80 million or whatever. And now it's like, look, man, if we can get him for £55 million, we always said about £50 million. don't screw it. Don't mess about anymore. If we're willing to take a massive L on Lukaku, just get the players in. First transfer window and the new ownership, £55 million for Jules Kounde. Barcelona want him. He's a good player. He's France international. Just get him in. Get him in, mate. That's what I say. 55 million. And if you get him for 55 million and Raz Sterling for 45 million, Jules Kounde and Raheem Sterling for 90 million combined, it's pretty darn good. Elite attacker, young, promising elite defender. You know, that is pretty good if you ask me. Sorry, that would be 100 million, wouldn't it? Still, 50 million each on average. That's all right. That's fine. Good. So, big story circling lately is Matthijs de Ligt. Elite young centre-back. Captained Ajax to an Eredivisie title as a 19-year-old. I have spoken about this before on the channel when afterwards they did that victory show when they're all on stage to tens of thousands of people, and you've got Matthijs de Ligt, teenage captain, addressing the tens of thousands in English, oddly, but like talking about, Johan Cruyff attacking football, and I was like, wow, what an impressive young man. When I was 19, I was off my head in a ditch somewhere. So, different paths and all that. So he reportedly wants to leave Juventus, and he is a target. Now, he is elite, Matthijs de Ligt. He hasn't had his best time at Juve, but he's still regarded as an elite talent. So coming from Corriere dello Sport, no renewal, no release clause, no agreement on his new terms. Matthijs de Ligt has requested his transfer this summer, with Chelsea and Manchester United in pole position to sign the Juventus defender. Ooh, Harry Maguire's shaking in his boots. Surely you choose to come to Chelsea, the Champions League playing team, over Manchester United. Surely, ladies and gentlemen. But a transfer request. And then, again, from Sai, quoting Republica, Chelsea's contract offer for Matthijs de Ligt is the most concrete. His agent contract offers from several Premier League teams. Ooh, several Premier League teams. Chelsea United. I don't know. It wouldn't be like, dare I say, Newcastle United? Are they flexing their guns that big, that early? I mean, Liverpool, they've got Kanate, Matip, Van Dijk, don't know. I'll have to see. I mean, City have got plenty of centre-halves, haven't they? Anyway, several Premier League teams. Chelsea would be willing to invest €70 million. So what's that? £58 million or something? So you could get, like, if you get Matthijs de Ligt and Jules Kounde for, I don't know, £10 million, it's pretty good, man. Like, you can look at Matthijs de Ligt, Kounde, Sterling for like 160, I don't know, 60. You still got another elite player to buy there. Pretty good, man. Pretty good. What do you think, though? I'd love that. I think I'd love that. If we, Rudiger and Christensen out the door, De Ligt and Kounde in the door. It feels like elite replacements, doesn't it? It feels like if you said that ages ago, like a few years ago when Christensen wasn't doing that well and Rudiger was an obscurity at Chelsea, wasn't really recognised as elite, and you were like, oh, you'll get this French guy's up and coming that everyone wants, but you'll also get Matthijs de Ligt, who's just signed to Juve for like however much it was, like 80 million. There'll be your two replacements. You'd feel like, yeah, wicked. That's like an elite replacement. You'd feel really good about that, I think, probably. But obviously, I want to put this out to you guys. This is what I've reacted to today. Things are starting to move pretty darn fast now. We are linked to about 1,000 players. As momentum gains and the news picks up and stuff like that, I'll react to it accordingly here on the channel. So, of course, I'd ask you to keep it locked. Make sure the bell's pressed when you subscribe. Thank you for liking the video. And, yeah, man, I look forward to seeing you guys back on the channel very soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I love me bitch.